fallen angels and giants. As enigmatic as these two concepts sound separately, imagine the surprise and intrigue they must evoke when presented together. Today, we look at some mysterious images of fallen angels and giants. But first things first, what exactly is a fallen angel? Fallen angels are entities depicted in religious texts such as the Bible as angels that have rebelled against the divine and been banished from heaven as a result. The term fallen angel is often used interchangeably with the terms fallen deity and fallen spirit. However, it is important to distinguish between them as each term has its own distinct meaning. A fallen deity refers to any god or other supernatural being that was once worshipped but is no longer revered for various reasons, such as the rise of other religions or the abandonment of religious practices. Meanwhile, a fallen spirit can refer to a number of things, including ghosts, demons, and the spirits of people who have died and are lingering on earth. In the Christian tradition, the origin of fallen angels can be traced back to the teachings of the Apostle Paul, who referred to them as angels that did not keep their principality but left their proper dwelling. Since then, the concept of fallen angels has played a significant role in Christian theology, with some theologians even suggesting that they were responsible for certain biblical events, including the fall of man. One of the most famous depictions of fallen angels can be found in the Book of Enoch, where they are described as angels who fell in love with human women and produced children known as the Nephilim. This idea is further explored in the writings of the church Father Irenaeus, who believed that the Nephilim were the offspring of Seth and the daughters of the fallen angels. However, despite the attention they receive in some circles, fallen angels are not mentioned in the canonical Gospels or in the teachings of Jesus Christ himself. Instead, Jesus spoke primarily about the devil, referring to him as the ruler of the world and the prince of this world. In fact, the only mention of fallen angels in the New Testament is found in the Epistle of Jude, which warns believers to contend for the faith once delivered to the saints against those who have secretly brought in destructive heresies. As we delve deeper into the topic, it's important to note that the belief in fallen angels and the Nephilim is not universally accepted among Christians. Some see these beliefs as heretical, while others view them as a subject of ongoing theological debate. The concept of fallen angels has also been popularized by various esoteric and mystical traditions, including Gnosticism and Rosicrucianism. Now let's move on to our main topic, giants in the Bible. The idea of giants in the Bible is often met with skepticism and disbelief. After all, how could such beings exist in a world governed by natural laws? And yet, when we examine the scriptures closely, we find several passages that describe giants as part of human history. Take, for example, the story of Goliath, the Philistine giant who was slain by David, or the account of Og, king of Bashan, whose iron bed was so large that it required 8,000 able men to carry it. These stories may seem like mere folklore, but they were clearly intended by the biblical authors to be taken literally. But why would God create such powerful beings? And if he did, why did he allow them to roam the earth unchecked? To answer these questions, we need to look at the broader context of the biblical narrative. From a theological standpoint, giants can be seen as a symbol of human pride and arrogance. Just as Nimrod, the grandson of Noah, was a mighty hunter who set himself up as a king over Babel, so too were the giants a reminder of humanity's tendency to exalt itself above God. By creating giants, God may have been testing the faith of his people, just as he had tested Abraham's faith by asking him to sacrifice Isaac. Moreover, the presence of giants in the Bible serves as a reminder of the constant struggle between good and evil, just as David was able to defeat Goliath despite his enormous size and strength, so too was humanity able to triumph over Satan, the ultimate giant, through the sacrifice of Jesus Christ. Ultimately, the existence of giants in the Bible should not be viewed as a contradiction to the laws of nature, but rather as a testament to the infinite power and wisdom of God. Just as God created the world in 6 days and separated the land and sea by the firmament, so too could he have created giants as part of his creative process. Furthermore, the presence of giants in other cultures' mythology and folklore suggests that they were not merely a figment of the biblical author's imagination, but rather a reflection of real historical events. Whether or not giants still walk the earth today is a matter of personal belief. However, the evidence presented in the Bible and other sources suggests that they were indeed a part of human history. And now, let's discuss the giants and fallen angels. While the Bible does not explicitly state that fallen angels had sexual relations with human women, the Book of Enoch, along with other pseudepigraphal and extra-canonical texts, provides a detailed account of their interactions with humanity. According to these texts, the fallen angels, led by Azazel and Semjaza, chose human wives and had children with them. Some of these unions resulted in offspring known as the Nephilim, who were described as giants and wicked. The idea that fallen angels had sexual relations with human women is a controversial one, and many Christians today reject it as heretical. However, it is important to remember that these texts, while not included in the Bible canon, were written during a time when angelology and demonology were not fully developed. The concept of fallen angels and their interactions with humans was still being explored and debated. It wasn't until later that the idea of fallen angels became more solidified in Christian theology. Despite the controversy surrounding these texts, they offer an interesting perspective on the relationship between fallen angels and humanity. The idea that fallen angels would choose to have sexual relations with human women and produce children with them suggests a level of agency and free will on their part. It also raises questions about the nature of sin and the consequences of choosing to disobey divine law. Ultimately, the question of whether or not fallen angels had sexual relations with human women is one that cannot be definitively answered. However, exploring these texts and the beliefs they express can provide us with a deeper understanding of the relationship between humanity and the spiritual realm, as well as the nature of sin and disobedience. The story of the Nephilim is a fascinating one that has captured the imaginations of many throughout history. While there is no clear consensus on the exact nature of these beings, there are several theories that attempt to explain their origins and purpose in the biblical narrative. One theory is that the Nephilim were the offspring of fallen angels and human women. This idea is supported by several pseudepigraphal texts, including the Book of Enoch, which provides a detailed account of the fallen angels and their interactions with humanity. According to this theory, the fallen angels, known as the Grigori, chose human wives and had children with them. These children were called Nephilim, and they were described as giants who lived in the days before the flood. Another theory is that the Nephilim were the descendants of Seth, the third son of Adam and Eve. This idea is based on a comment made by the Apostle Paul in his letter to the Romans, in which he refers to the Nephilim as the sons of Seth. However, this passage is often misunderstood, and there is no direct biblical support for the idea that the Nephilim were Seth's descendants. Additionally, the Book of Enoch provides an alternative explanation for the origin of the Nephilim, suggesting that they were the product of a curse placed on the daughters of men by the fallen angel Azazel. Finally, some scholars believe that the Nephilim were simply a metaphor used to describe the wickedness of humanity in the days before the flood. This interpretation is supported by the fact that the Nephilim are only mentioned in Genesis 6:4 and nowhere else in the Bible. Furthermore, the description of the Nephilim as giants and sons of the living and the sons of God could be interpreted as a literary device used to emphasize the corruption and moral ambiguity of the time period. Ultimately, the true nature of the Nephilim remains a mystery. However, exploring these various theories and interpretations can provide us with a deeper understanding of the biblical narrative and the broader themes of sin, judgment, and redemption. In conclusion, the story of fallen angels and giants continues to fascinate and intrigue people today. Whether viewed as mythical figures or literal historical beings, these enigmatic creatures serve as a reminder of the mysterious and often contradictory nature of our world. As we continue to explore these ancient tales, we may just discover new insights and perspectives that challenge our understanding of the past and shape our perception of the present. So, what do you think? Do you believe in the story of fallen angels and giants? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more exciting content. Thanks for watching.